Hey guys, welcome back to Paulies Sleepers Week 13 DraftKings DFS analysis. We're playing guaranteed prize purse tournaments. Sorry, no intro and no music today. We're just gonna get right to our analysis, and hopefully you guys have worked on some of your lineups. That was the whole point of this week, was giving you a player pool to work on. I also went on Facebook and updated the player pool throughout the week. So you guys can kind of play along at home and do your own lineups and have some fun with it. But we're going to give out a bunch of lineups. I know I said I wasn't going to give out very many, but I just can't help myself. I'm going to give out a bunch. So Jackson and Jeremy and I have been working really hard to try and make some strong correlations here on players that return value. We've got some good sleepers this week. Like I mentioned this week, we're not going to need a ton of sleepers this week because there's so much value in the mid-range at wide receiver that we feel are all like in smash spots. So there's a few sleepers, but not as many. I think that's going to increase our chances of winning. And I'm also going to try and post the updated player pool later on tonight or tomorrow if I can, but we'll just kind of go over it here and people that we have taken out and added to the pool. The guys are liking Brady a lot because his stats in Buffalo are just absolutely sick. Also, Gronk is from that area, Buffalo, and his stats in Buffalo Stadium, Ralph Robbie Stadium, are very, very, very tasty as well. These guys do not disappoint. I will have Gronk in lineups, fading Brady again, and the guys aren't wrong for playing him. He's a great play. He's a strong play, especially if you're going to do cash. But I'm doing guaranteed prize purse big tournaments. And our strategy last week and lately has been fading the top guys and finding guys that are cheaper that can return the same amount of value. So last week we really focused on Jared Goff and faded who everybody else was playing, who was Brady and Russell Wilson. And those guys both got 24 points, and Goff got 24 points. So it was a good play. Goff was $1,000 cheaper than Brady, $300 cheaper than Wilson. So that's what I'm looking to do again this week. And so we're going to do one lineup with Huntley, just because he's at home and looked a lot better last week. And he's going up against that Tampa Bay secondary who's just getting torched by everybody. He's developing a hell of a connection with Davante Adams, and we've talked about these connections. It's not Jordy, it's Davante Adams is catching all of his passes. I do like Jordy a little bit this week just because he's 4,400, and I think they want to get him going, and this would be the secondary to do it against. But, having said that, I don't have a ton of faith in this to put a lot of money into Huntley. But this lineup is going to be Huntley with Eckler, who's a sleeper, the Chargers running back, Alvin Kamara, Davante Adams paired with Huntley, DeAndre Hopkins, who we think this week can really, really blow up. What's his name? Jackson, D-Jax from Tampa Bay, sorry. Deshaun Jackson, I had a brain fart there. Ricky Seals-Jones, who's a big sleeper this week that Jeremy is very high on. So I went back and watched some game film and of the last 2 weeks, and Seals-Jones is Gabbert's first look a lot, like every play. So I really like that. He's very athletic too. Also, we have Cooper Kupp in this lineup and the Chargers. So do Huntley, Eckler, Kamara, Adams, Hopkins, Deshaun Jackson, Seals-Jones, Cooper Kupp, and the Chargers. I think that's a good lineup. Another thing that the guys have been really hot on the last couple days is playing Jameis Winston because he's super cheap. He's coming back from injury. I'm worried about him coming back from injury, but, a lot of the analysts are saying, the team's not playing for anything anymore. So they're probably not rushed him back. So he's probably good to go. And he's super cheap at $5,500. Now, he was a boomer bust play at the beginning of the year, and that's what you want in GPPs. So this lineup could totally tank out, or it could be really good. I'm going to do Winston with Carlos Hyde, Dion Lewis, Davante Adams, Mike Evans, Deshaun Jackson, Hunter Henry, Demaryius Thomas, and the Jags. Jeremy's got a lineup that he likes this week with Winston, And he's doing Winston with Dion Lewis, Duke Johnson, Adam Thielen, Mike Evans, Deshaun Jackson, Travis Kelce, Devontae Parker, and the Ravens. All right, so those are our Winston stacks. If you're doing Winston, pair him with Evans for sure. You can also put Deshaun Jackson in there, which obviously these lineups all have. But make sure you come back with Devontae Adams. So what we do on these stacks, if you think that's going to be a good hit, that Winston to Evans hit, the Packers are going to have to come back and throw the ball a bunch. So you're going to want to have Adams coming back on that one. Let's talk about some other strategies on stacks. Josh did a Brady stack that I like, and I think rolling Brady naked might be the way to go. I had Brady with Cooks and Gronk a couple weeks ago, and his touchdowns went to Lewis and Amendola, so the lineup crapped. Since he's got so many weapons and you don't know what he's going to do on any given week, if you really believe in Brady, I think a Brady naked stack might be good to go. But the Brady Gronk narrative, being Gronk's hometown, is good too. We're going to give you a Bortles one here in a little bit, but Bortles to Marquise Lee, who's his top target. Before he faced Patrick Peterson, who shuts everybody down, he was averaging 9.5 targets over like 6-game stretch. So that's pretty strong. And then D.D. Westbrook is their rookie that they really want to get involved. And if you do that stack with Bortles and Lee and D.D., definitely come back with Doyle on the other side, because Jack Doyle has been just gobbling up targets too. Last time they faced, he was double-digit DraftKings points. That's a pretty safe play. The last time they played the Colts, I was at the game. Leonard Fournette didn't play. I did a Bortles stack with Hearns and Lee, and it crushed. So that's not a bad play, and we'll give that one out here in a minute. Another one is Keenum to Thielen. Thielen's just been smashing defenses, and he's going against Poole, who's been hurt all week if he even plays. And then Stephon Diggs. That's a big hit for us this week at $6,200. Not a lot of people are talking about him. He's got big GPP potential, and I don't know who he's going against, but Desmond Trufant is hurt. That's their top corner. So he's not going to be seeing top coverage. He's going to be seeing backup coverage. I think Diggs could be a big play this week. I actually think he could lead the league in reception yards this week. So if you do a Keenum, Thielen, Diggs stack, definitely come back with Julio Jones. And then you could fade Thielen if you want to get cute and do Keenum with Diggs and Rudolph. Just because Thielen's really expensive. And you can get DeAndre Hopkins for like the same money or a little cheaper. So if you go Matt Ryan, definitely go him with Julio and maybe even Mohamed Sanu. Did you see him throw that 50-yard touchdown pass to Julio last week? He was recruited as a quarterback out of Rutgers. So a lot of people saw that, and one of my friends even commented, "Oh, I bet that was an 8-yard pass that Julio took for 42 yards after that." He just saw the stat on the bottom of the screen. And I watched the game, and nope, he threw that 50 yards. So you could get Sanu in there for sure. He's cheap, always disrespected. Speaking of that, let's talk about players that are disrespected for salary this week. Josh McCown is just absolutely smashing right now. He's at home. He's going against a horrible, leaky secondary in the Chiefs, and he's only 5,500, so that's why we like a lot of McCown. My top play this week is Case Keenum because of Desmond Trufant being out, and because of his ability to ball out on the road or at home, and that's a dome game. That's going to be big. This Green Bay Packers Tampa Bay game, this Minnesota Atlanta game, these games are going to be big. This Jets game with the Chiefs is going to be big. These are all smash spots. Also the Saints and Carolina. So these are the players we want to focus on. Another guy kind of disrespected this week at 7,300 is DeAndre Hopkins. So going back 7 weeks, he's gotten double-digit DraftKings points every week. His low is 17. Everything else is in the 22 to 30 range. He's just about as consistent as it comes right now. And I was just thinking, he's playing at home against a leaky Tennessee secondary. If his name was A.J. Green, and he was in the same situation, he'd be 8,000. So I think that's a great value. Also, we're really keying on Marshawn Lynch this week as a value play at 4,800 because he's gotten 20 points 2 out of the last 3 weeks. Cooper is hurt and out, and Crabtree is going through a suspension. The New York Giants defense is horrible, and they're going to be missing their best defensive tackle. So Lynch at home is in a just huge smash spot. When you can get 20 guaranteed touches for $4,800, you got to jump on. Speaking of other underpriced guys, as long as as long as Aaron Jones is out tomorrow, and I think he's trending out, Jamal Williams once again is going to get all the looks for Green Bay at home. He's another guy that's going to get 20 touches that we could buy for $4,700. Duke Johnson is $4,800 and Eckler is $4,200 in that same game. Both of those teams give it up to pass catching running backs. I think that's very interesting as well. So playing all those guys is going to allow us to pay up at wide receiver, and that's what we want to do this week. So defenses, we've keyed down. I can't believe I missed this earlier this week. I talked about the Raiders being a sneaky play. They are, go ahead, but I mean, they haven't done anything. So just to assume that they're going to blow up because it's Geno Smith is kind of a maybe too strong of an assumption. And for the same money, we could buy the Ravens at home going against Detroit. Yeah, I know Stafford is good and Detroit is good. They're also a little hot and cold. They're also not very good on the road in the cold, and Stafford has a hurt hand. And the Ravens average 16 DraftKings points at home. So that's 5x value on 3,100. I'm all in on the Ravens. We're going to pay up for the Chargers too, going at home against Cleveland. That's going to be a really good play. And then the Jags. I usually don't pay up. Those are the top two defenses. But again, there's so much value at some of these positions this week. I could pay up for the top positions, and the Jags will feast on the Colts. It's going to be a bloodbath. So Jags, Chargers, and Ravens are our 3 defenses. Tight ends, definitely there's a reason to pay up for Gronk. I like paying down for Kelsey, especially in these McCown stacks. So in these McCown stacks with Robbie Anderson and a little bit of Jermaine Kearse in there, I like coming back with Kelsey. He's $300 cheaper. Delaney Walker's in a great spot, and he's been smashing lately. The quarterback there, Mariota, is struggling. I think really Walker has been his safety net, and this is a big sleeper for Jackson. He loves Walker this week. I think everybody's going to be on Jared Cook because they don't have their 2 wide receivers in Oakland this week. I think that's a trap. For $200 more, I'd rather pay for Walker. Hunter Henry is going against the worst defense against tight ends at Cleveland. I'm not going to have a ton of him just because he'll put up a 0 or a 2. I can't afford that this week. Kyle Rudolph in that big Atlanta, Minnesota game at 4,500. I'm okay with that. Paying down to Julius Thomas, revenge narrative at home for Miami. They're starting to figure out how to get him in the ball. I don't know why it took him so long. He's built like a Mini Cooper. $3,500 going against his old Broncos team. I like it if you look at his game log. And guys, if you ever want to look at these guys' game logs, just click on their face and then click on game log, and it'll show you their targets and what they've been doing lately. I love Julius Thomas right now at $3,500. And then the aforementioned Ricky Seals-Jones is only $3,200. I think he's going to do really well. I don't think he's going to give us a George Kittle 0 this week. I think this guy could really fuck around and get like 15 or 20 points, but he might get a 7, 8, or 9, which at $3,200, 9 points is fine. It's just fine. I'm feeling good about that. Thielen, big this week. DeAndre Hopkins, big this week. 3 guys in the 6,000 range. Robbie Anderson for the Jets. Cooper Kupp for the Rams because Robert Woods is out again with his shoulder. And then Devontae Adams at 6,500 going against that horrible Tampa Bay secondary. Going down, Marquise Lee going against the Colts. We've talked about that. D.D. Westbrook is in a good spot. Dontrell Inman is Jackson's big sleeper this week going against the 49ers. We've been targeting that secondary all year, and that's a cheap $3,900 play. I like Seth Roberts for extra targets in Oakland this week. He played 97% of the snaps last week, and he practiced all week in 2 and 3 wide receiver sets. And throughout the year, even with Cooper and Crabtree out there, he's been getting red zone looks. He's actually one of the leaders in red zone looks. I'm just scared to even talk about Josh Gordon. But at $4,100, you've got to put him in one lineup. I'm assuming by now that you've got at least, $15, $20 to play with, and you're doing 10, 15, 20 lineups. At $4,100, let's play Josh Gordon just one time, just down there in the flex spot. I don't think he'll get less than 7 or 8 points, so he's not going to kill us. But he's Josh Gordon. I know he hasn't played in 13 years, but it might be really, really good. So McCown and Keenum are my quarterbacks, and then our running back player pool is really small. Kamara, until he proves us wrong, okay. Todd Gurley, a little bit. Fournette playing at home against the Colts is good. McCaffrey, I like as a pass-catching running back against New Orleans. They give it up. Down to Carlos Hyde in a really good spot. Garoppolo will get that team going. Dion Lewis for the Patriots. Duke Johnson, Marshawn Lynch, and Jamal Williams. And then Eckler. We're going to do a little bit of Eckler for $4,200 because he's cheap. So let's rattle off a bunch of more lineups. What do you say? Matt Ryan with Carlos Hyde, Dion Lewis, Stephon Diggs, Julio Jones, Seth Roberts, Delaney Walker, Rex Burkhead, and the Ravens. Let's do Josh McCown with Carlos Hyde, Duke Johnson, Marquise Lee, Robbie Anderson, Devontae Adams, Travis Kelce, Eckler, and the Jags. And then Chad Snipes lineup. I asked Chad for a lineup. He's been doing better than us. This is what he came up with on our player pool. Chad likes Case Keenum with Leonard Fournette, Marshawn Lynch, Robbie Anderson, DeAndre Hopkins, Adam Thielen, Ricky Seals-Jones, Dontrell Inman, and the Ravens. I like it. It's got 2 of our nice sleepers in there and then a bunch of smash spots. Jackson pivoted off of Chad's lineup just a little bit. Got Thielen out of there and put Diggs in so he could pay up for Carlos Hyde. So he's got Keenum, Hyde, Lynch, Anderson, Hopkins, Dontrell Inman, Delaney Walker, Diggs, and the Chargers D. Couple more Keenum stacks that I like. Keenum, Hyde, Jamal Williams, Stephon Diggs, Julio Jones, Adam Thielen, Ricky Seals-Jones, Deshaun Jackson, and the Ravens. Keenum, Lynch, Christian McCaffrey, Stephon Diggs, Jordy Nelson, Adam Thielen, Jack Doyle, and Mohamed Sanu. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. We got a bunch more. I really like this one, guys. If you play one lineup this week, do Case Keenum with Alvin Kamara, Marshawn Lynch, Julio Jones, Adam Thielen, D.D. Westbrook, Ricky Seals-Jones, Eckler, and the Ravens. Let's do another one with Keenum, Eckler, Lynch, Anderson, Diggs, Hopkins, Julius Thomas, Julio Jones, and the Ravens. Keenum with Fournette, Dion Lewis, Robbie Anderson, Stephon Diggs, Cooper Kupp, Seals-Jones, D.D. Westbrook, and the Jags defense. Another Keenum. I love Keenum with Dion Lewis, Marshawn Lynch, Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, DeAndre Hopkins, Rob Gronkowski, Ricky Seals-Jones, and the Ravens. Let's do another Matt Ryan with Dion Lewis, Jamal Williams, Robbie Anderson, Stephon Diggs, Julio Jones, Julius Thomas, Duke Johnson, and the Chargers. Let's do Blake Bortles with Leonard Fournette, Todd Gurley, Stephon Diggs, Marquise Lee, D.D. Westbrook, Jack Doyle, Dontrell Inman, and the Chargers. Let's do one more McCown because I like this one with Kamara and Christian McCaffrey, Robbie Anderson, Mike Evans, D.D. Westbrook, Ricky Seals-Jones, Ted Ginn Jr., and the Ravens. So you guys were worried I wasn't going to give out lineups. I just gave out the most I ever had. Feel free to mix and match. You've got a good idea of the player pool now. Even if I don't have a chance to post a player pool, you've got it. I mean, it's here. These are the guys we want to play this week. This is the smash spots. We can't guarantee satisfaction here. It's kind of like guessing the weather, guys. We've got a little bit of a preview. We've got some good research that we've done here to try and narrow this down. Hopefully we hit like we did last week. Thanks, Jackson and Jeremy, again for all your help. And you guys go out there and win some money and watch some football and have fun.